Okay, now, carefully place the module on the space station. No! Emergency! Emergency! Kerbal's adrift! Kerbal's adrift! Quick, send a rescue team! Hello guys, I'm Orbiter, your Welsh engineer, and welcome to Kerbal Quest Series 2 Part 31, Solar Space Station Failure! Yes, the description is in the title, and yeah, I may not title this Kerbal Quest, just because, well, I'm going to be diversifying from just Kerbal Quest, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. That's the real thing. Anyway, I hope you like the change of music again. But let's get to the video at hand as we stage the rocket. Yes, midway between launching up into orbit. What we're doing here is we're going to build a solar space station. I'm going to put a space station which will go in a highly elliptical order. Order? No, orbit. It's going to go in a highly elliptical orbit around the sun. However, the way we're going to do this, first off, we're going to launch from Kerbin and head towards Eve. Wait a minute, Mark, that's not the sun. Ooh, but it's closer to the sun. And there's a very good trick you can do because Eve's gravity is almost equal to that of Kerbin, maybe a bit higher. We're going to get a gravity braking because we want to reduce our speed relative to the sun. So if we go into map view here, you can see our orbit is a lot closer to the sun, and then all we have to do is use the rockets that we got to reduce the orbit even further. If we didn't do that, then we'd still be in highly elliptical orbit, close to Kerbin, going down towards the sun. This way, we'll reduce the amount of delta V required. I could have done a burn while we're close to Eve, and oh yes, I was trying to get the rocket to keep on burning while I decoupled and I rotate the base so the rocket would be nowhere near us. However, that failed, but in all intents and purposes, the bounce back from that rocket after it cut out was pretty good. And what we couldn't do, I did put docking ports on those panels. Those panels are supposed to shade the space station from the sun, but those docking ports, I thought I'd attach the docking ports to the station, and the idea was to attach them to the docking ports at the top. However, I found that I attached the girder, not the docking port, to the space station, so I had to get my Kerbals out in EVA, detach them, and attach the panels up there. Well, I could have had the Kerbals detach the docking ports themselves and reattach them and all that, but I found I needed a probe core to actually control the solar protection array. That's what we'll call it, solar protection array. Yes, the idea between these, well, these panels, the wings that I use, what I decided was we'll pump them full of water. That way, you can use the water, which will partially protect you against radiation. Because I don't know if you've watched any NASA videos, they'd say they'd go hunker into a small room, and that room would be filled with water around it, and it'd help disperse or dissipate or absorb the radiation. I'm not entirely personally know the reason why they use water, but apparently it does work, and it help increase the amount of layer. It's what else could we do? I suppose we could sort of like line the bottom of the solar panels with lead. Anyway, as with any space program, any huge mission at this magnitude, going close to the sun is fraught with perils. The Kerbals we have here, which was Niels Kermin and Joe Kermin, and for some reason all these parts flying in the atmosphere caused my game to keep on freezing. But luckily we were able to EVA the Kerbals and shoot out their parachutes. No, not shoot out, deploy parachutes, that's the right word. Yes. So the Kerbals survived, ready to launch again, with more struts. Luckily we did not need more boosters this time. This launch actually took me, well, 3 attempts actually to sort of like balance the struts and using the eternal strutting mechanism, which is called auto strut. Yeah, don't always use a strut with heaviest part. I most of the time use strut with grandparent part. However, do not take my advice right now because we find any auto strutting involves the Kraken. Anyway, these Kerbals are out on EVA on the Mun, waiting for their 1-year journey around Kerbin, because yes, I launched and I found I had a year wait until we get towards Eve again. So another long voyage. And this track that is playing now is aptly named The Long Road Ahead. And yes, they've got a long way to go. There, as they're passing the man, and maybe you saw Minmus flickering in the distance. This time, however, we will use the all-birth effect that since you're closer to a body, that you can use the gravity and acceleration to accelerate yourself. And I don't know if you can just see it, I'm not sure if you will see it on YouTube. You see some lightning storms on the dark side of Eve. I didn't notice that before. That must be the part of the Eve pack that I've got. I can't remember the name. I'll put the mods in the description because I keep on forgetting to add it. And this time I will do straight after recording this post-commentary. That aside, our Kerbals are on their way and ready to burn. For the use of all birth effect, yeah, I had to mess around with this maneuver so many times just to get the close approach so that we get into the same similar orbit as our space station, or at least close enough, and get the most efficient burn as we can, as you can see from this map view. Anyway, now that we've got this burn, I worked out that we just should, I use that term very, very shakily because I wasn't entirely sure. I was very scared, in fact, that we wouldn't have enough fuel. But now we're approaching the space station after a 50 meter per second burn. It's time to reduce our speed to our target. And if you look at the delta V on our target speed and the flight digit, we just had enough. Yes, we just had enough. In fact, I ended up with 95 meters per second left when we go for that close encounter. Looking at the modules on top of this spacecraft here makes you think of a little mini Kerbal city. You know, they won't be sort of like square buildings like we have now. That's quite boring. They'll be round cylindrical buildings. Kerbals are more efficient than us. Although is square buildings more efficient? I feel that is something we've learnt over eons ago, that square buildings are probably better than round ones. However, I still feel like Kerbals will do better with round buildings. For some reason, it just seems to suit them. Anyhow, you can see we've got 140 odd meters per second left, and I'm using the RCS thrusters that I purposely built for this, using the main field, by the way. So it's not using RCS field because I tried to keep all that for the docking maneuvers. We get 11 kilometers. I thought that's close enough, isn't it? You know, 11 kilometers we can kill the velocity. But I realised that 90 odd meters per second is not going to get us really that far. If we overshoot, we can't burn back. So yes, use the RCS if you can. 15 meters per second to delta V to kill. We definitely got this to the bone, I think. There's no way these Kerbals are returning home. Put it that way. So all these Kerbals have to make do with what they got. But now that we have arrived, it is time to dock these to the space station. So first off, what we got? We have a science module and an ore capsule. The ore capsule is there to store experiments that we have collected from exposure to the radiation of the sun and perhaps the particles that come zooming past. That's another point. When we build protection for things like these panels that I have, what can we do to deflect particles? That these are highly energized particles that head into us from the sun, or if the sun does a burp. Oh yes, and I forgot to put solar panels on these modules. No! I had to put the probe into hibernation while we were on the way to get closer. You can see from my frantic docking that I was trying to dock this as quickly as possible before we ran out of energy. Anyway, this time I decided let's play it safe. Let's get a Kerbal. Who we got? We got Niels Kerman, and he's put on his shades, especially this close to the sun. Let's detach some of these solar panels and attach them to the modules. As long as we keep the solar panels in the sun, we will be fine. I feel though that Niels' use of a glass helmet isn't good unless it's got UV protection and multi-radiation protection. I think that is a very bad idea for an astronaut, and probably why NASA don't use it, and they use white space helmets with the, sun visor? Yes, I say. It's probably lead paint or something. Anyway, that aside, as Neil Kerman is getting his suntan all over his neck and everything, let's get these probes over to dock. And the original idea with this module was that these arrays will be pointing at the sun as we just pump the space station trying to dock. However, I realised those panels, those solar detectors I suppose we call them, were not going to get enough visibility of the sun when we point around it. So I decided we'll use them as communication satellites to point at Kerbin. Yeah, there's me testing to see. It's not far enough aside, so yeah, we'll rotate it around. I could have got a Kerbal out on EVA, found some struts that we left on the module, and put them out a bit further, but I didn't think of that at the time. Anyway, let's dock this up. We have a lot of work to do. However, you may notice that the space station is shaking a bit. I thought it was from me docking, but if you keep an eye on the space station when you can, and your view is not obstructed by my awesome camera work, as I switch on these RCS probes, RCS tanks. Yeah, always be sure if you're going to use RCS tanks for docking, there you go, there's the wobble. Make sure that you cut out the RCS fuel from the tanks before launching. There, I'm trying to use fast forward time, switch over to the space station, and I'm thinking, right, I heard mention that this autostrut junk can kill your spacecraft. It attracts the Kraken, if I can get the words out. And the Kraken can smell all that autostrutting. It's something the game developers still have to work on. All this time. I'm not sure if it's their fault. It's probably the fault of the game engine itself, which I believe they still use Unity. Yes, I believe they do. It's not a game that a gaming engine that built themselves, which is a shame, because if they had done that, they would have been awesome. However, I don't think this game was decided going to be built like it is. It was sort of like built over time, which the story of this game being created is awesome. It was just going to be a 2D launch 'em up into space, and then it developed into this full space program. Probably one of the best simulators that I know, which uses Newtonian physics and then simulates the Kraken as well. But my rambling aside, I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Yes, I decided to switch over, control from here. Let's do this docking again. The Kraken has been subsided. We have sacrificed a Kerbal. His name was unknown. And don't worry, if you asked to be Kerbal, don't worry, he was not sacrificed. Okay, let's make sure that we have enough fuel and electricity for this maneuver. As we, oh dear, yes. It looks like the Kraken attacked while we were not looking. Yes, damn it. Why did this go wrong? Alright, we have Nils Kerman on board. It took me a bit of time to work out what should I do. And I just realised one of those panels isn't straight. Never mind that, we've got a Kerbal to rescue. I was debating at this point to load a quick save and redo maneuvers to get this again towards the space station and dock this modules, because I didn't quick save after every docking. I should do that, or create multiple saves. So what I've decided at this point, we'll take control of these probes, we'll use the probes that we got to get the docking hub towards the space station, all the while the other module is heading towards the space station itself. You can see passing behind us there. It looks like it's stopped moving, but it hasn't. It's just our point of view. We're heading towards the space station as well. So our point of view of that capsule, of that module, you can see it's getting closer, but it doesn't look like as if it's heading towards the station. That could easily come and head in towards the space station and crash. As we're trying to approach, yes, see, there it is. Luckily, it's not heading directly for the space station at this moment. Oh, could you imagine that? I'm slowly coming towards the space station, and then suddenly another probe comes in sideways, smashing it to smithereens. Oh, all that work put into it. Anyway, luckily we have Kerbal Engine Redux mod installed in this. So my idea was here that we'll get this close, we'll get our Kerbals to attach it like we did with the solar arrays, or solar protection arrays. And if you look at that, when we fast forward time, those panels misalign. I'm wondering if that has something to do with the Kraken, and the reasoning why these parts decide they do not want to be together. It doesn't happen on small things as we career into the space station, luckily just slowing ourselves down in time enough. Now what we need to do is get this as close to the bottom of the space station as possible and reattach it. We can sort any alignment out later on with detached probes and all that. In fact, at this point I realise we could have detached one of those probes. It would have made it a lot lighter, as you'll see in momentarily. And, yes, we have RTGs on this part of the space station. It's on the docking hub I built on the bottom. That means our space station is losing power, and we need that power to pump that water up through the solar protection arrays that we have on here. And the idea of pumping water is that it'll also cool them, especially when we get close to the sun. In all reality, in this game, I think those wings stand higher temperatures because they need to. If you build in a space plane, they need to survive. Anyway, here it comes. Quickly, grab it, Nils Kerman. He's an expert in attaching things to space stations. But it looks like we did not get it. It's too heavy for a Kerbal. Quick, Jar Jar. Another awesome engineer that helped us assemble those solar protection arrays. Don't worry, Nils Kerman, we have you. Jar Jar Binks got you now. Anyway, thank you for that name, Sophie. That was awesome. Kerbal name. Jar Jar Binks, a character from Star Wars, not very liked. However, that not liking Jar Jar Binks has made him famous, I suppose. Yes, it's one of those sort of like characters that you hate to love. Is that right? I'm not sure. Anyway, going on with this, decided that to make sure that the Kerbals stay on the vessel or stay close enough, we'll put them on the ladder. Because I've tried this before with a Kerbal Quest episode where we're trying to get Kerbals to lift something heavy and attach it at some point. However, the Kerbals, not that they fly off, but they sort of like drift slowly. Why can't they do fine control for EVA, the same that you hit the caps lock key that you do for your space station, for your RCS and everything else? Why can't you do it for Kerbals? It does not make sense. Because they just go flying off. There's no way to stop their rotation or movements. I think this is to do with one of the things. They either can be bothered, or they wanted to add some complexity and hardness to the game, I suppose. But anyway, now is the last chance we have. We're running out of EVA fuel, Captain. And who is the captain? We don't know, because he's not here. If we had Jean-Luc on this mission, everything would be fine. He'd tell his engineers to do this, do that, make it so. And the space station would be fixed. However, we do not have Jean-Luc Picard, we do not have Captain Kirk, we do not have Worf. The angry Klingon would probably throw the space station together to try to fix it, smashing it to smithereens. And why are you Kerbals looking at a wall? You should be looking at the space station that's heading towards you. But here's some dramatic music playing in the background to emphasize the sense of urgency as this space station is coming in really, really fast. It's too far away. Come on, grab it. Grab it. Grab it like a rabbit. Nils Curran, it's too far away. Too heavy. No. They can only lift 2,000. No, they need to lift. It's 2,600. We can only lift 20,000 tons in space. Man, that is a lot. These Kerbals must eat their veg. And so should you. So we have to get another Kerbal out. And this time, who have we got? Edward Kerman. He's a pilot. However, he decides that maneuvering this around would help. Okay. Let's switch over to Jar Jar. You got it, Jar Jar. Attach it. Quick. You don't have time. And I was rushing at this point. I didn't realise I was attaching it on the wrong point. And then it exploded. We have Kerbals adrift. Quick, send a rescue mission. Kerbals are out cold. The space station is a failure. These Kerbals will not survive long out in this harsh environment. We will remember you, Jar Jar Binks. This got me thinking. Now that we've failed the mission, and I decided I haven't got time to remake this, so what I decided here was, to finish off, let's have another look. Yeah, I was recording this at the same time. I thought, wait a second. Let's see if the space station would actually survive close to the sun. So let's switch to the space station and the auto switching easy vessel switcher, which you hold down Alt if you've got this mod installed, click on the one you want to switch to, which can be a bit janky sometimes, but it does work. Switch over to the space station, fast forward time, and head towards the sun. If we do not test this, that means the Kerbals will have died in vain. And I think at this point the other Kerbals were too far away from us to be loaded into the game for them to be burning up in the sun. But you can imagine that their dead bodies slowly go into a crisp, becoming a lovely heated up vegetable. Oh man, it looks like we do have some heating on, I think it's the struts probably the heating, or perhaps some of the other parts, I'm not entirely sure. Heats up a bit more when we go into fast forward time. However, it's surviving. Didn't realise we were still in physical time warp, but when we drop out time warp, it still doesn't heat up. What's our distance? We're under 1 million kilometers away from the sun. That is really close. Anyway, I am Orbiter. Trust me, I'm an engineer. Now we will leave the space station orbit, and all the Kerbals are probably already dead as this video fades out.